What's that? Okay, so of course my light went out, but it's alright. We don't need it. We're talking about Terrifier 2 on day number 2 of this little expedition that we're taking. You know, I I enjoyed it. I don't think I'd be able to watch it again. It's very like emotional, I feel like. Like it definitely has this emotional part to it that the first one didn't have. Like it makes the first one seem like it was just fun and games, right? And yeah, and the second one just like honestly, like I found myself crying a little bit, when you find out about Sienna's dad and what happened and but it was like very very cool. Sorry, there's like fires going on right now, so it's very cool finding out like this story of, the force behind Art the Clown, you know? It was very sad learning about Sienna's story with her dad and how like I mean, what else can you do if not be like, dang, well, no wonder, you know, no wonder that this is like so tough when you're dealing with something that's just not natural, not human, you know, something that occurred spontaneously through like I don't know, like the dad's cancer in the brain, and going through like a breaker and just like that, like so much electricity and energy and like making this thing that he had in his brain just come to life. Listen, beautiful, right? Of course, it's gruesome. Everything that happens is gruesome, but it just shows you like how sick and like sadistic and like what was going on in the dad's brain too, right? Or like when Art the Clown is beating Sienna at the end with a chain, and you're just like, oh man, this is kind of a tough watch. When you also hear that Sienna used to get the worst end of her dad's abuse when he was losing his mind, you know? So it's really sad. And then it's something that she doesn't want to dive into. So she kind of sees that darkness taking over her little brother because he didn't experience really, right? Because he was younger than her. Uh, the stuff that she had seen, the stuff that she went through, right? So he was interested in like serial killers and learning about this stuff. And she was like, well, I don't know. Like, he's just gonna start bringing like dead animals, blah, 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 Like, he's reading about serial killers. Like, he is interested in learning about like the dark parts of life. Probably because of what his dad had, you know? And then for her to be like, well, no, she has just what we hear from her is good things about her dad. And it happens, right? I mean, who wants to think of their parent or their caregiver as like a terrible person? It's kind of like distressing, right? Especially because she's 18. So it's really sad. And I think that's what made it such a hard watch, at least for myself, you know? Uh, on a lighter note, the beginning of the film, when Art was at the laundromat and he's reading the newspaper and he's like pointing and laughing at like this article about like about 4 people dying in a car crash or something. I'm sorry, it just totally reminded me of um like Snoopy. He goes to the library, I think in one of the Peanuts films, and he's like reading an article and it says like how to train your dog. And he's just laughing at like these articles that say how to train your dog, how to get your dog to listen to basic commands. And he's laughing, right? That's what it reminded me of. The dream that Tiana has, I thought was so cool and so interesting. How like we see all the stuff that she's watching, consuming during the day, hearing during the day, and it plays out in her dream. Sometimes it's just what happens, right? The cereal box that fell out with the clown on it, whether or not you know, she also wants to admit it. Like, that's why she had all that clown. Like, she had all this clown stuff popping up. That commercial popping up while she was falling asleep or whatever. You know, it was very weird, very crazy. And then at the end, when she's like in this chamber of water, is that really going to be how she dies? Drowning in this chamber of water, and the last thing she watches is the carnage that she witnessed in her last dream. You know what I mean? It was it was interesting. It was interesting, and I had like a big I had a blast. I had a blast thinking about it and like just going over it. You know what I mean? As for like the little girl, somehow being like a part of arts history also, uh, I guess that's what the third one is going to go through, right? There is a lot of unanswered questions, but there was also a lot of questions that were answered. I mean, I don't know. And the thing is, it could go any way. Like, there is just no, and there is no set path as we see at the end with Victoria giving birth to the head. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very weird. Chris Jericho, by the way. I waited for him to come out just for it to be like an extra scene at the end, which I should have looked up. But to be honest with you, I haven't looked anything up about any of the films. I probably should have started at All Hallows Eve, which I believe is the first one where art originally comes out. Um, but I didn't. I'll probably watch it just right before I watch the third one, you know, just to kind of like get more of a feel for what's going on. And yeah, those were my thoughts on that, you know, and yeah, peace.